Hello, welcome to another draft diary M12 draft. This is JMats once again, and this draft I'm actually looking to draft white, and the two best cards on the pack are both white. So while I'm going to be sending a little bit of mixed signals, taking the Angel obviously, hate to ship an Oblivion Ring, but I might get Stave Off or Mighty Leap back, and you just don't pass a 5/5 flyer. Well, maybe you do, but I'm not going to. Going into this draft also, I don't know if I already said, but I was looking to draft a Griffin deck, and the commentary is coming after the fact, so I already know that I do kind of force that archetype, but my mental state beforehand was I want to draft white if at all possible. So starting with an Angel, following up with another Angel is pretty nice. And there are actually two white cards, additional white cards in the pack, which I'd be happy to have. Having worked with Spirit Mantle a little bit more, I have a lot more respect for it. Looks like red is possibly open. With Chandra's Outrage getting shipped, but you take a Sarah Angel at this point, or at least I do. And that's given me a couple of finishers. I was actually hoping for a little bit more of an aggressive deck. And this pack is nothing but disappointment. Trying to remember what I did. At this point, I think I might take a white card just to cut it, because I'm trying to cut it really hard. Arsonist might be, or Carnage Worm are probably the best cards in the pack. I don't know. It's really, I mean, that's a whole lot of crap for pick 3, but yeah, I think I take the Dignitary. And here, signals are saying green's wide open if you have birds and a troll coming to you. Shock showing up, so even some more red burn. And so I go for, the burn splash. Now pacifism a little bit later means white's still pretty open. Obviously the Pegasus. Blood Ogre coming up is a surprise, because that's normally picked pretty high, but take the Pegasus. And also a Ring Flesh there. I didn't highlight a couple removal options. And here, getting the Griffin Sentinel, which is really the key to a Griffin deck. Because if you're getting Griffin Rider turn 2, you need to have that Griffin turn 3, otherwise you just have a useless 1/1 sitting there and not getting in for the aggro swing of 4 through the air. So, obviously not sold on red at this point, but pretty much sold on white. And by cutting it this hard through pack 1, it should be, we did ship Oblivion Ring and a couple other cards, but it should be coming back to us. Now here was our first pack, and Frost Breath return, but again for cutting white, take the Stave Off. We know we're going to be playing that color. And who knows what came next. I think that the second pack, the Sarah Angel pack, had the Spirit Mantle and some other white card. Griffin Rider. Yeah. So there's a possibility that one of those two would table. So we may be getting a playable or even fairly strong white card here on... Yep, and the Griffin Rider got back to me. Now, I was surprised to see that Hunter's Insight was still available. That means green. The signals all said green was being underdrafted, but I was trying to send some signals of my own. And sometimes, even if it is underdrafted and you're shipping it, it means you're cementing someone else in the color. So the next person down the line might have the greatest green deck ever, and I might have the, a pretty good white deck. Here I'm trying to decide whether to cut or just take the card. Oh yeah, Guardian's Pledge, much better when you're playing a near mono white deck. Dark Favor's playable, and so is the War Paint. I'm not going to make our deck, but... So War Paint and Lava Axe probably don't make the deck. I mean, keeping them around just to see where red goes. If we start getting a bunch of Incinerates or Flame Blast Dragon or something like that, the deck could take a sudden turn in that direction. And instead, we got a Mythic Rare that was trading for, 10 ticks. So, Pack 2 signals are not nearly as important because you're never going to get them back, and I just took the money rare. But cutting white did pay off because someone shipped me a Sarah Angel. And even like the Mighty Leap or Celestial Purge have a good chance of tabling out of that pack. Here, I think I take the Lawkeeper. Another Spirit Mantle, so someone could be putting together a pretty mean Sacred Wolf Spirit Mantle combo deck. But I go with the Lawkeeper. It goes with my aggressive theme. And the whole time if I remember correctly, I started thinking, can I play blue instead of red? Like, is a blue-white deck going to be more powerful? Because Jace by himself is a win condition. I mean, 2-3 turns of milling in a limited format and you win. So here, considered the Crown, yeah, but I think I end up taking the Pegasus. Just maybe I take the Crown. I would probably take the Pegasus if I was, in my mindset right here. But I was probably also thinking if I'm not splashing red, I'm going to be short or a little bit light on removal. Here I had 2 Griffins playing the Griffin deck. Had to basically decide what my role is. I decided I was more aggressive, and I was a little bit short on 4-drops. Already had those Sarah's Angels at the 5 spot. Pacifism. Don't ever really want to pass that if you're playing white, or at least when you can help it. So at this point, the deck looks really pretty good. Cards like Stonehorn Dignitary probably not making the cut. I haven't really gotten much more burn after that shock. I think I saw Chandra's Outrage that I passed, but nothing to push me in that color. And here, Honor of the Pure. With as white as this deck is, Honor of the Pure is at its best. And then, I thought about the Enchantress because I have the Honor of the Pure, and potentially Divine Favor or a Spirit Mantle or any of those. But then thinking about it realistically, if you're drawing 2 cards but you're filling your deck with an O2 creature that's useless otherwise, just don't know how powerful that is. So I think I take the Divine Favor. Here, no relevant on-color cards, so I took the blue. And like I said before, I was trying to justify the Jace. So the safe pick would be to take the Mighty Leap. The pick I ended up doing was turn to Frog, and I ended up getting a Mighty Leap the next turn anyway. Although I might... Dear God, what did I take? Let's hope, yeah, I took the Mighty Leak. Naturalize is actually very useful because auras are incredibly powerful since there are no answers to them. So if you come up against a Thran Golem deck or something like that, you're going to want to have something to destroy an artifact, or come up against a Spirit Mantle, Sacred Wolf deck, sideboarding in a little bit of Disenchant or Naturalize or Domestify. I guess not Disenchant, but disenchant effects. is pretty powerful. I remember sitting here still. I mean, you don't have that many opportunities to play with planeswalkers, and it's really hard when you open a card that you've never played with and you want to have that experience to not go for it. And I can't really sit here and tell you not to do it, because Magic is a game, and, have fun with the game. Grand Abolisher I thought might table, but he's really more constructed card, and I mean, yes, they can't burn me on my turn. It was kind of, a possibility, but knowing that I was going with Griffins and the Griffin Rider tabled earlier, hate to pass a Doomblade and an Azure Mage, that definitely weighed in, because looking at the Jace, I thought, well, if I got one of those, I could go a little bit deeper into blue, but in the end I decided to go with the Griffin, stick to the white, and white continued to flow with an Oblivion Ring. Did I take the Griffin Sentinel? If I took the Griffin Sentinel, I may never talk to myself again. It's funny because I'm talking to myself right now as I'm recording this, but I mean, I know in this deck, the purpose of it would be, because I have Griffin Riders and it's aggressive, but please tell me I took the Oblivion Ring. Like, that's just too powerful. I know I have one shock, but here's a white card that's also removal. A little bit slower and clunkier than shock, but also a little bit more powerful in the late game or mid game. And at this point, and despite all of the jokes from Draft Beer episode 4, where we did play mono white deck, of course it was a life gain deck, and go back and watch the tape. But despite that, I started to really think that mono white might be where I end up. And that was certainly a long wait between picks. Oh, so when this came, things I considered, and not really, I mean, I wasn't going to pick that, but there was some more burn. There was some card draw if I was going to go blue. And there was a quality enchantment. And like I said, by heat now, I was thinking mono white is the more responsible play. If I want to build a Jace Memory Adept deck and go into the casual rooms, I now own the card, so it's not like I can never play with it again. So, and I don't know, maybe you, the viewer, will disagree and say, I don't know, if you get a Jace, you just have to find a way to play it. And in most instances, I would agree with you. But look at the white cards, and it's not crap. It's like I'm getting every good white answer. Knowing I'm not going to play the Dignitary, though, here I think I went with the Frost Breath, which of course then keeps the blue option open that I really should have closed the door on long ago. And another Griffin, another shock of note. But we're already a little bit past that point. I've passed too many red cards to worry about splashing too little shocks. And here I have one Griffin Rider, and I think the one I passed will be coming up in one of the picks shortly. I haven't quite gotten around the table on picks, but... And another pacifism. How crazy is that? So now, 3 pacifisms, maybe an Oblivion Ring if I picked it. You might be saying, well, just look at your damn cards. The problem is I'm recording this on a tiny, tiny little screen where I can't actually see whether or not Oblivion Ring is there. I can't really see the cards at all once they're into those piles, can't read them. Demystify, because of all the things that I said about Naturalize earlier, it deals with half of those problems. And really even Thran Golem, if you demystify the enchantment, it makes him kind of useless. And as I started to get more and more solid removal, there's the Griffin Rider. Excellent, he did table. And there's a Thran Golem, which could kind of fit into the theme. And I even got the Assault Griffin back, so yes, I must have taken that Oblivion Ring. Good. I can continue to talk to myself. Here, none of them's going to make the deck, but that could actually cause problems. Hunter's Insight is too powerful to let someone else just have. Lava Axe is playable in this format in Bloodthirst decks, and you know, who doesn't want a Bountiful Harvest? So that concludes the picks. Well, except for the island that I considered passing, but the computer would not allow me to do so. And so now it's, you know, make or break time, and hey, I'll spoil it for you. I pick to go mono white. I might have even put that as the title of this video, so it's not really any surprise to anyone, but it just didn't seem worth it to splash, to even screw with the colors. Like, the deck seemed like it was going to win on its own. The only way I could screw myself is if I screwed myself on mana, and if I just go mono white, the chance of that is much less likely. And are all of those creatures flying so far that I've added? I mean, it's just insane for the Air Force that I have. Really strong all the way through. Arbalest is semi-removal. Is definitely a possibility. The pacifisms are going to be in for sure. And same with the Oblivion Ring. Nice little stack. Then Honor the Pure, because I'm in a mono white deck, and for that same reason, yeah, the Veteran is one of those. I think the second pile is like my flux, maybe in, maybe out cards. Here I was just kind of dividing into some combat tricks and creature enchantments, and hope I don't forget that tapping crown. And blue, I mean, those are not only playables, but right now I have pretty strong playables sitting there, even with, you know, Benelish Veteran is not the greatest, but in this deck it's pretty good. So while I continue to think, am I better off having, you know, a pump spell? Oh, and I did remember the Crown of Empires. Good. Or am I better off trying to add a second color? The creatures are too good. And so sticking to white, especially with Honor of the Pure, where they could be a little bit larger, and with Guardian's Pledge, where they can do even more. The curve is very aggressive, ton of 2-drops. But if I can get those Griffin Riders into my Griffin Sentinel, that's going to give me a start that a lot of decks are going to have trouble matching. And then to have the Angels as finishers, because they might have plummets or some burn early. I have a lot of staying power with those cards, so I decided to stick with it. And I also didn't skimp on land. I said go with full 17. So that's the deck. Let's see how it plays.